he must have been empty when he got back. I mean, that thing was spewing stuff out of the back of that truck. Yeah. So I don't know if there's something that he didn't engage, and he's on the phone yakking. I was like, if I'd had time, I'd have stopped. It's like, what a bad advertiser for the company to start with. And what a disgrace for those communities. It's like,
I've wrote them before.
have you?
Yeah, because in Glen Valley, after our trash gets picked up, like in the winter, if it's slightly windy, there's trash everywhere. And the community's good about going out when they get home from work and picking it up. But if half the can goes when they're dumping it, they won't get out and pick it up.
I've sent Wesley some pictures.
Yeah.
I think it depends on who the driver is, because I've seen him.
Maybe.
I've seen him pick it up. In fact, there was a guy in front of my house, he got out of the truck and actually chased it across the neighbor's lawn.
Oh, they don't do that. I've never seen them do it down
There are some I've talked to a couple of them. They're that real high wind, a couple Fridays ago.
Yeah,
I stopped, because every can was turned over.
yeah.
So I saw him on John Street, and I stopped him and said, they have a road day. So I'm doing the best I can, man. I'm picking up everything I can. It's like, he seemed like he was, you can't do the impossible. He was trying to do what he could. It's like, but that truck going down 422, I mean, what a disgrace. So I gotta believe there's a way to, it's not an open top garbage container.
No, they have a fence or.
So I think whatever it was, he didn't have it engaged. Kind of like a dump truck driver driving with his bed up and,
Yeah.
Or the plate that comes over the top, will cover the opening and.
Okay, 6:30.
it's not quite.
6:30.
Oh, yeah, it
To
is.
start the meeting. Any additions or deletions to the agenda, Joe? Negative, okay. Could I have a motion to accept the minutes of our March 11th meeting?
Second,
Are all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Okay, no old business, new business, personnel?
Patrick Cooney is in phase 2 of his training. He'll be entering phase 3 in about a week and a half. He's progressing very rapidly. He's doing a great job. We get a lot of positive feedback from him, from his peers, and from the community. Dawson has been out for the last 2 weeks with COVID. He's having a rough time, but doing okay. And Steve was out for 10 days because he was with Dawson, but he does not have the COVID. He was just per the protocol. So there'll be a little bit of overtime on this payroll and probably the next to cover some of those open shifts on the
So how
weekend.
tough a time is Dawson having?
He's on day like 12 or 14, and he's still in pretty rough, on and off fever. His cough is absolutely terrible. He's only awake like 4 hours a day. Like, I mean, he's having a rough time.
Not have to go to the hospital, though?
Not yet.
Elderberry juice. Yeah, it's,
They say this new variant is really hard on young people.
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, mine was rough, you know? I mean, that first 7 days was okay. The second 7 days, it was not good, you know, and it took me a week to recover. And, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it just hits people differently.
Well, you had quite a fever for quite a while, right?
Yeah, I was at 102 every time. You know, I mean, I ran it for 7 days straight. You keep it down and try to get it to break, but. So that's where we're at for personnel.
so, you still doing the protocol?
Yes.
Self-monitoring your temperature before you come to work?
Self-monitor if anybody has any
not
symptoms at
you're
all.
not coming
don't
in
come
here.
And we send them for a test immediately. If anybody is with
So did
anybody.
he call in and say he had a fever?
No, so they were both at Violent Fugitive Task Force. They went out with the task force to go find some bad guys. And at the end of the day, well, actually, when they first started, Dawson asked Nadal, he goes, how have your sinuses been? And Nadal's like, well, he goes, pollen everywhere. He goes, I can't even breathe. He goes, yeah, me too. He goes, I got a little bit of a headache. And then by the end of the day, he was really starting to feel kind of shitty. So he said when he got home, he went to, he called CVS and, you know, made an appointment to get in for a test. They had one open, so he went right away. And then it came back the next day and that he was positive. So we told, you know, luckily they were on their days off, but everybody on the Violent Fugitive Task Force had to be quarantined for, you know, for whatever the 10 days was, or 10 or 14 days. So Steve was part of that. So we had to cover, you know, shifts for both of them for that period of time. But Steve turned out he was fine. And Dawson's got it.
How's Steve's daughter doing?
You're real good.
Okay,
So that's it for personnel.
So do you have anybody else in the hopper?
No. No, we've done probably half a dozen interviews, and nobody's gotten past the interview phase yet.
We're still looking though, right?
Yeah, yeah, always,
So you currently have one part-time, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
And he's almost, like I said, he's probably about 3 weeks out from getting released.
Okay.
Training?
Spittler, Lee, Hurlis, Cooney attended an interviewing class. It was an online class, but it was live, so it was interactive. It was pretty good. Spittler was chosen by the SWAT team to attend the Ohio Tactical Officers Association Conference in June. So they actually pay for him to go to that. And actually, the Blue Coats are the ones that put out the scholarship, but he was chosen by the SWAT team. So that's pretty big honor.
How'd they pick him?
I don't know. You know, it goes through all those guys. You know, there's, I think, almost 30 guys on the SWAT team between the 3 counties, and they chose him.
How do they get to even know that should be selected?
I'd say again?
How do they know that could, I mean, that'd be something to say, hey, this guy would be,
Well, and here's the other thing, is that Dawson and Nadeau are also finalists to go from the U.S. Marshal Task Force.
oh, is that right?
Yeah. So how they choose them, I don't know, but, you know, we get a lot of accolades on our guys, and our guys have a lot of training when they go. You know, they're already SWAT trained when they get to these teams, so they have a lot of training before. Yeah. Dawson's scheduled for pistol instructor school later on this year. Sergeant Aveni is scheduled for recertification to inspect and install child restraint seats. She's done that now for, probably 7 or 8 years. And it's really good. We put it on the website and we let people know at the hospital. And when these people are putting in their new car seats, they'll stop here. Or, you know, when a dad is going to pick up the baby, they'll stop here and Julie will put their seat in and show them how to put it in correctly. So it's pretty neat. And what's that?
Do people in the community know that?
It's on our website. Yeah, it's on the police website. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We've helped a lot of people with that. And Boxler's scheduled for an advanced interview and interrogation school later this year. But that's it for right now.
Now, is it online or?
No, that one will be in person.
Okay.
Yeah, they're starting to open up some classes in person. However, they're keeping the class size down, but they've increased the amount of, of cost for the class. But, it's always worth getting them to the class instead of having to do it online or through a Zoom.
Statistics, you want to walk us through that?
Sure. So for the month of March, we are up to 45 traffic citations, no parking sites, 4 charges, 152 warnings, 9 traffic crashes, 1 OVI, 605 calls of service. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but it seems like crazy is coming on a little bit crazier than normal. So, I mean, we're busy.
I just read the
Just-
blotter.
Just busy,
Post.
you know. 24 lockouts, 19 alarm drops, 6 thefts, 1 domestic, 9 assist other agencies, and 2 warrant arrests. So they're doing a lot of cases that Boxler's working as a detective. Just a lot of stuff going on.
Thefts at mostly Walmart?
No, they're everywhere.
Well, tell me again what calls for service means. What's that mean?
Any call of service that we go to, anytime that dispatch calls us and sends us somewhere is a call to service.
Wow, that's a big jump.
Yeah, it's huge. Well, you gotta remember, last year, we were in the heat of the COVID, but this year, I'm telling you, I would expect April to be just as high as March. With the weather and people being outside and people being, I don't know, it's a huge uptick, I can tell you that. We're noticing it every day.
How much money do you think the county's not getting because you're not writing tickets?
I can tell you how much money we're not getting because we're not writing tickets. For
let's start
what
there.
I see, you figure, 4 years ago, when we were writing tickets, you're averaging, say, 50 tickets a month. You probably will see $21,000 to $27,000 a year. Okay, so you just decrease those numbers. Last year, I think we didn't even see 10. This year, I would expect to see probably close to 15 or 20. But, you know, it's, yeah, it hurts everybody, everywhere.
Joe, how are we doing with the, you know, because of the COVID thing, a lot of people are having mental issues because they can't go see their family. How are we doing with that?
We're seeing an uptick in all calls. So, you know, we're not getting the domestic calls, but you get a lot of domestic disturbances, you know, where people are fighting. There's a lot of tense people everywhere. Everybody is at that point where they want to snap. You know, nobody's nice to people. Nobody's, you know, everybody's ready to snap. So I just hope once people are able to get outside this summer and this late spring, all that will start to ease back into some normalcy. But I think people are just fed up.
So when I looked at this briefly, it looks to me like every ticket written is either on Lake Street or South State.
Yeah, that's most of it.
And I don't see any North States, I don't see any East Highs, you know, it's like, and
Well,
I
but
think
what
West High is too congested.
Well, yeah, what you have to remember is too, though, the location always comes down to the location of the stop. So most of your east side tickets will get stopped on West High. And some of your North State tickets will get stopped on South State, but all of your South State stops get stopped on West High.
So my suggestion was we put that speed monitor sign, which I think is now is it Glen Valley still?
Yeah.
What?
That's off right now.
Battery dead or what?
Yeah, we'd probably need to change batteries.
So I would put it, when you see a concentration of tickets, it makes me slow down. I mean, you just automatically see it and you react to it, I think. So cause I'd like to see no tickets. I mean, it'd be nice if nobody sped in town.
Right.
All right.
Any crimes of note?
No, nothing really to speak of. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Equipment, including vehicle?
New vehicle's been delayed 2 months because Chevy can't make cars without parts. So
Chips. They're missing a lot of chips and
chips,
plastic.
they're missing a lot of small electronic components. And, you know, all these cars today are made with too many electronics, we all know that. And now they can't build cars. So,
Well, they build them, they let them sit there
yeah.
until they get the parts.
How about other equipment? What's the, camera?
Cameras on the outside of the building are still there. We're still waiting for the internal cameras. Of course, those are backlogged because of COVID also. The guns will be in this week or next week. Other than that, everything else is good.
Guns are the new rifles and the,
New rifles and
ARs?
shotguns.
okay.
No, we're waiting for them to finish up here, and I'm still waiting for Matt's quotes for the other locations.
We taking these cameras there? Is that what we're gonna do?
He said he couldn't do that. I asked him if he could.
Anything else, Joe, you want to bring up to the group?
I don't have anything. If you guys have any questions, we can talk to you.
Earlier this week, last week, I think Scotty and I emailed you about Lynn Valley speeding and all that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lynn Valley, people, this perception is maybe they're speeding, maybe they're not. The one thing that stands out to me from this new complaint from two separate women is tailgating. Somebody's getting up really closely behind somebody, and it shakes them up. It shakes them up to the point where they call you and say, I'm being harassed. Now, I don't know if it's the same person who's doing it, but that's a new one.
Yeah, so that one, I think I know who that is and where that vehicle is. However, we can't sit there all day to wait for it to do it. Yeah, but, and I only know it because it was funny when you sent that email chain, I was tailgated in my truck yeah, in Glen Valley. So the other thing I was gonna say, and I've dealt with the Glen Valley speeding thing since, as long as I've worked here. And for me, when I go to Glen Valley, I drive 15 to 18 miles an hour. So I look at my speed. What's comfortable for me driving through Glen Valley is 15 to 18 miles per hour. So when I see a car coming at me, I'm like, man, that car's flying. And I hurry up and I hit my radar, and it's doing like 24 or 25. So 6 miles an hour faster than where I'm going does seem like it's going super fast. And if you're sitting at your house, 25 miles an hour seems exuberant.
Especially
in
if you're
there.
going around a turn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, or if you come up on one of those cars on one of the turns, and you're like, holy cow. So, yeah, but we do our best. I've had the guys out there, yeah, and they're sitting at across 87 watching cars come down so they can't see them, and they're trying to sit in different spots, but,
Like I said, the thing that I was most concerned about was the two women who thought we were being.
yeah. And I think I can point them in the exact direction of that vehicle. Like I said, it's just hard to
Why don't you have
get
them
him
give the,
leaving. What's that?
has to provide the vehicle. If they're tailgating that close, they'll be able to see what it is.
Would you say slam on their brakes?
They should identify the vehicle.
Yeah. Embed that bumper. Okay, no need for executive session. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Objections? We're adjourned.
Over and out. Over and out.
Please hold your breath.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
It's funny, Laura and I walked up at East Branch today,
Yeah,
and this lady comes jogging by. You know, it's about 10 foot wide, the gravel path.
she put her mask
Laura
on.
moves all the way over, and then she was on my left, and then I'm waiting for her, and I'm like, when she's over here, I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I don't want to break that one.
That's funny. Ben told me you pulled yours already, so I'm going next week to pull mine. Now I feel behind.
Be late to the party.
I know. Wait, I'm not a registered voter.
Oh, you're not?
I'm kidding.
So you got me on that one.